We are up to page 103 in Halacha 9, Tosefet Shabbat. So Tosefet Shabbat is a mitzvah to accept Shabbat earlier than it actually begins, even just a few minutes before Shkia. So see number 10. Aruch HaShulchan states that fulfilling mitzvah Tosefet Shabbat serves as a protection from harmful spirits. 11. Shulchan Aruch, okay, Halichot Olam, states that according to most poskim, the mitzvah of Tosefet Shabbat is a biblical obligation. So you fulfill a mitzvah from the Torah when you accept Shabbat a few minutes before sunset. The minhag is to try to accept it by candle lighting, which is around 18 minutes before sunset. But at least a few minutes before sunset is already considered Tosefet Shabbat. Fine. Number 10, both men and women are obligated in the mitzvah of Tosefet Shabbat. 13, in the footnote, which states that even though the Minchat Chinuch states it's possible that women are not obligated in Tosefet Shabbat, many Rishonim say they are obligated. Okay. 11, one may accept Shabbat as early as Plaga Mincha, which according to some opinions is 1.25 halachic hours before Shkia. And some people calculate this from Tzet Kochavim. Fine. One may pray Arvid as early as Plag Mincha, especially if one has young children at home and does not want to have them to stay up late for the meal. It's preferable, though, to pray Mincha earlier in the day so that Mincha and Arvid are not both prayed after Plag Mincha. So usually people who pray Plag Mincha Minyan, they pray Mincha before Plag and pray Arvid after Plag. Okay, good. 12. Merely refraining from Halacha suffices to accomplish the mitzvah of Tosefet Shabbat. But it's better for one to enunciate his acceptance and not just mentally declare it. So the best thing to do is to say, I officially accept Shabbat. But if you just stop yourself from doing Malacha, that's also enough, technically, to fulfill Mitzvah Tosefet Shabbat. Number 13, if one is running late, and he does not have enough time to pray Mincha before Shkia, so it's almost sunset and he didn't pray Mincha yet, he may non-verbally accept upon himself Tosefet Shabbat by refraining from Melacha and recite Mincha. This still accomplishes the mitzvah of Tosefet Shabbat. However, after one recites Mincha, he still should preferably accept Shabbat verbally. Similarly, one may stipulate one's acceptance of Shabbat, and stay even before Mincha that they accept Shabbat for Melacha and not for Tefillah. So you try to accept Shabbat for Melacha purposes, even though you still didn't pray Mincha. You're going to pray Mincha, but it's still considered you did Tosefet Shabbat. Okay, 19, in footnote, see Halacha Shabbat Yazdi, who says that if one accidentally accepted Shabbat upon himself before praying Mincha, he may still pray Mincha nonetheless. Number 14, Halacha, even if the woman of the house already lit the candles and accepted Shabbat upon herself to fulfill the mitzvah of Tosefet Shabbat, the rest of the household does not have to accept Shabbat along with her. Similarly, if the father of the family has accepted Shabbat early, then the rest of the residents of the home do not have to accept Shabbat along with him. However, we're going to see that many poskim say it's preferable that the whole family accepts Shabbat at the same time. Footnote 20. See Kitzur Shulchan Aruch of Chazon Ovadia, who brings a letter that Chacham Ovadia wrote, that the rest of the family does not have to accept Shabbat early along with the father of the home. Even if he prayed and accepted Shabbat earlier in an earlier minyan, and not just if he accepted on his own. Chut Shani adds, this is also the case with the guest. Igrot Moshe says that even though one's wife does not have to accept Shabbat at the time her husband does, but she should not do melacha for her husband. However, Shevet HaLevi permits for her to do melacha for the husband also. Okay? Fine. Number 15. One who accepted Shabbat early and then had a need to do melacha must perform hatarat nedarim in order to retract his acceptance of Shabbat. So let's say somebody really forgot something in the car, or forgot something in the store, or had to go drive somewhere, and you're ready to accept Shabbat early. He has to do hatarat nedarim if he wants to go and do melacha to be able to fix whatever he needs to fix. If the melacha is only rabbinic, then depends. If one accepted Shabbat on his own, then he may do the melacha if it's for the sake of a mitzvah or an extreme need. However, if he accepts Shabbat early with a minyan, such as saying Baruch Hu, then he may not do the melacha that are a rabbinical prohibition. But if he does hatarat nedarim, then he'll be allowed to. 16. One who accepted Shabbat early may ask somebody else who did not accept Shabbat yet to do melacha for him. Usually you're not allowed to ask goyim to do melacha for you, But here, you're asking another Jew to do melacha for you because he didn't accept Shabbat yet. It was early, and only you accepted Shabbat. That's allowed. Okay. 17. One who accidentally cooked food before Shkia, but after he already accepted Shabbat, does not prohibit the food from benefit on Shabbat. 18. One who lives in Israel may have workers working for him in Chutz La'aretz, outside of Israel, on Erev Shabbat, and his workers may work until the time that they have to accept Shabbat in Chutz La'aretz, even though for you it's already Shabbat in Israel. Okay. 19. A mole who accepted upon himself Shabbat an earlier time may nevertheless perform Brit Milah for a child who's supposed to have the Brit perform the Erev Shabbat. However, if it's possible, it's better for a mole who has not yet accepted Shabbat to perform the Brit Milah. Fine. 20. One who accepted Shabbat early while it's still daytime, and then remember that he did not count Sfirat Omer the previous day, should count without a bracha. Once it becomes night, he may then continue counting with a bracha. So even if you prayed early and accepted Shabbat early, you still have to wait till the nighttime to count with a bracha. 21. One who accepted Shabbat early should count Sfirat Omer before Kiddush. However, if it's not yet Tzedek Kochavim, one should not begin his meal unless he sets a reminder before Shabbat, or as a neighbor remind him to count Sfirat Omer, lest he get carried away with his meal and forget to count. Okay, good. Now we're going to learn about the concept of Ben Hashmashot, twilight time. There's sunset, then there's twilight time in between light and darkness, and then there's Tzedek Kochavim, emerges of 3 stars, which is for sure night. So Ben Hashmashot, 22, is known as twilight. Is a time period before sunset, between sunset and Tzedek Kochavim, emergence of the stars. In Israel, how long does this period go for? In Israel, this is about 13 and a half minutes, seasonal minutes. The amount of time can range depending on where in the world one is and the time of the year. Okay, let's see a nice footnote over here. 29. For a very thorough understanding of time B'Shmashot, look at Halacha B'Ra, volume 14. The basic summary of the concept of Ben Hashmashot is as follows. The opinion of Rabbeinu Tam is that Ben Hashmashot does not begin immediately after the sun sets. Rather, it only begins 58 and a half minutes from the time the sun is set and extends 13 and a half minutes till Tzedek Kochavim. So according to Rabbeinu Tam, Tzedek Kochavim comes out to be 72 minutes after the sun sets. This is the opinion of Rishonim and Shulchan Aruch. So according to Rabbeinu Tam, when the sun sets, that's just astronomical sunset. The real halachic sunset is 58 and a half minutes later. And then when you have the halachic sunset, that's 58 and a half minutes after sunset. After the regular astronomical sunset, there's 13 and a half minutes from the 58 minutes till Tzedek Kochavim. And in total comes out that from the regular astronomical sunset till Tzedek Kochavim, according to Rabbeinu Tam, is 72 minutes. That's how Rabbeinu Tam understands Ben Hashmashot. Number 2, on the footnote, another opinion is the opinion of Geonim, who state that Ben Hashmashot begins immediately after sunset. Ben Hashmashot starts once sunset is over. Once you see the sun go down, that's it. Now it starts Ben Hashmashot. Not like Rabbeinu Tam. This extends 13 and a half minutes, and immediately afterwards is followed by Tzedek Kochavim. Okay. Then we have a third opinion of Rabbi Eliezer of Mitz, who states that Ben Hashmashot is 13 and a half minutes prior to when the sun is no longer visible. Once the sun is completely set, it's already Tzedek Kochavim. So really, it's 13 and a half minutes before the sunset finishes. So once sunset starts, it's already Ben Hashmashot according to Rabbi Eliezer of Mitz. And once the sun sets, that's it. It's Tzedek Kochavim already. So that's a different opinion. This opinion is highly debated and generally is not considered an halacha, even when being stringent. In any case, the custom of Klal Yisrael is to follow what? Follow Geonim regarding Erev Shabbat. However, regarding Motzei Shabbat, it's proper to be stringent, like the opinion of Rabbeinu Tam. Strictly speaking, one may follow the Geonim even on Motzei Shabbat. That's what most people do. Okay, fine. Let's see number 30, and we'll end over here. See Halacha Brura, who explains that according to some opinions, a 13 and a half minute span of Ben Hashmashot and even the 72 minutes from sunset until nightfall of Rabbeinu Tam apply all year round. However, most poskim say that these times are only stated in a situation where all of the 24 halachic hours of the day are even. However, if it's summertime where there's more daylight than night, the time of Ben Hashmashot will be longer. If it's winter, the time of Ben Hashmashot will be shorter. The length of Ben Hashmashot depends where you are in the world. According to some opinions, the 13 and a half minutes was only according to Eretz Israel. But if you're farther from the equator, you'll have a longer one, and if you're closer to the equator, you'll have a shorter one. So therefore, I think they say in America, it's around 20 minutes. But at the end of the day, the person has to know there is a concept of ben hashmashot, and you have to factor that in. And what ben hashmashot is exactly the argument between Rabbeinu Tam and the Geonim for Motzei Shabbat. Baruch Na'olam. Amen.